We have a group that are taking their lead from Liberty University, graduates of Liberty University in political science, who have decided that they will put up a candidate for every vacancy that occurs as a result of term limits. And they've been electing candidates on 2 issues only, which is anti-abortion and anti-gay rights. And these candidates simply start at the beginning of the election season and harangue on anti-abortion and harangue on anti-gay rights, and they are winning elections up there. I mean, they've won 1, and they're probably going for 2 this time.
Question?
The question is this a phenomenon that's occurring across the state? Are we seeing a recurrence of a real right-wing resurgence in Montana politics?
I don't know. I hadn't heard that they were filling. I don't know about the Liberty College thing. I hadn't heard, though, that there was an organized movement to fill all these seats. I do know that that the term limit movement came with part of this 30 years of denigrating government. You know, we've had 30 years now of denigrating government. Government's going to take your guns. No, they aren't. Social Security's gone broke. No, it hadn't. I mean, it's a shock to everybody, I know, but it hasn't, and we can stay around. I'll tell you why it hasn't. It's not broke. And all these things. And so what did we have to do? Well, we had to stop these insane elected people by limiting them to 2 terms. Look at all this crazy stuff they'd done. No, they hadn't. They just had not. They were public servants like Lawrence and Bob Brown. The vast majority of them were good people. If their constituents decided they wanted to keep them around for 3 or 4 or 5 terms, they should have been allowed to do that. But it's part of the denigration of government, right? The government's no good, so if you keep rolling over the members of it, you'll have better government. No, you'll have worse government, and that's what we have in state legislatures after state legislatures. Some of the people that get elected to state legislatures now, in my opinion, because of term limits, are nearly, this a very small handful, are nearly incompetent. Policy-wise, intellectually, they're almost incompetent. And term limits and anti-government cause that.
Yeah, I guess I would agree that Lawrence and Bob were pretty good legislators, but I think Harry was all right, too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Harry's hard to see. I didn't see him back there. I forgot about him.
I have a little bit different, well, not much different, but a little bit different take on term limits. Term limits, people, partly because of, I suppose, news media, television, we live in a soundbite world, okay? Soundbites sell. I mean, they just do. And term limits, that's why we have it. Throw the bums out. Remember CI 75? Have a say in what you pay. You know? I mean, who disagrees with that? So it became a initiative, and it passed. It actually passed, meaning that you vote on everybody votes on every single little fee increase that comes along. Every single one, hundreds of thousands of them, I would say, over a 5-year period. But have a say in what you pay. I mean, who's going to argue with that? Or, well, you see the signs around saying, pay taxes on election day. Well, you know, yeah, that would straighten them out, wouldn't it? It's, people yearn for simple answers to complex questions, and they refuse to accept or to think long enough to realize that there are not simple answers to complex questions. There just aren't. Now, you know, I'm not sure what exactly is going on up in northern Montana, but I can tell you that there is a concerted effort. There has been, filing deadline has passed now, but there has been a concerted effort on the part of I don't know how to describe it, I suppose Tea Party type people, at least in south central Montana, to be sure that all seats have, you know, one of their candidates in it. I don't know if that's a statewide phenomenon or not. And I don't know, I mean, you said you questioned the sort of competence of some of these people, and term limits means they aren't going to be there long enough to learn very much anyway. But But you know, when it comes down to it, in the final analysis, it's the voters that picked them. And theoretically, any representative represents the district because he or she sure got elected by a majority, unless it's the only person on the ticket. So why don't you run?
Right.
Which is just another way of saying that people ought to get more involved, you know? I mean, yeah, being in the legislature costs you some time, but I'll tell you, the education you get is incredible.
There's an old saying in the Congress, when you first get there, you have this in mind. I wonder how a dope like me ever got here with all these wonderful people. And then after your second term, it becomes, how in the hell did these dopes all get here with a smart guy like me?
Well, people being people and wanting simple answers to complicated questions raises the last question I want to ask you too. If you look down the road 20, 25 years, where do you think Montana's going to be, given that our people are normal people and they do like simple answers to complicated questions? Where are we going to be and why? What are the factors that are going to influence where we're going to be? Don't both jump in at once. It's hard to.
Well,
manage that.
I guess I really think that we will do more in the way of responsible natural resource development. I think we'll do more in the way of alternative energy development in this state. I think we are realizing that we need not only the jobs but the tax base, the tax revenue. You know, we've talked a lot about schools and all the things that we need. I mean, all the infrastructure that we need out there. I think that we will continue to work together more, whether it's urban rural or whether it's conservative liberal or whatever it is. I think we are finding some value in working together. And like I said, I think that started a while back. I think, I hate to say it, but I think we'll still be stuck with term limits. I hope I'm wrong. Well, I'll let Pat jump on now. I think I have one other thought, but I can't come up with it.
Let me know and I'll stop and you can put it
All
in.
right.
Well, as a community, I think Montana and the United States will be comprised of people who move significantly toward more civility. I think we will tire of the angry people, including the guy walking into the Mo Club downtown here with his gun on his hip, so proud of it, you know. I think we'll tire of that, even people in a gun-toting state like Montana. I think we'll become more respectful of, instead of less respectful. We're going through that time now. For about 20 years, since early 80s, we've been increasingly less respectful of the people we elect to serve us, whether it's, well, it's usually at a national level, but even below that. I think that will begin to improve. I think education will continue to bedevil us a little. How do we, you know, why is it that when Jay Leno goes out on the street and holds up a picture of Joe Biden and says, "Who is this?" he almost always finds somebody who says, he manages the Green Bay Packers, doesn't he? You seen that? I'm really worried about that, and I'm not sure how we fix that, because the teachers are really trying. So we've got to have some kind of, as Lawrence said, we've got to get all into a reform thing, and still protect teachers and protect mill levies and bond issues and the rest of it, but maybe pull together a little better, as the Board of Humanities encourages all over America. And then I think there's going to be a breakthrough. Don't know what it is. I think there's going to be a breakthrough in America's technology that is going to see 50 years of significant economic change for the better. I think we are on the verge, primarily because of American universities. I think we are on, which, you know, people from India and China, and you want to go to the best schools, post-secondary, you got to come to America still in this world. So I think we're going to, the scientists are, and people like Bill Gates and the rest of it. So you got to include capitalism in this, but I think we're going to have a breakthrough somewhere, somehow, that's going to remake the American economy and once again make us a world leader. And then finally, I think this is more contentious. I kind of like to end with something a little more contentious that gets our blood going, you know. I believe that 25 years from now, you won't be able to find a member of Congress who tells his grandkids, you know, I voted against that health care bill. And you know why? Because I think it's going to expand this economy. I think it's going to expand medical schools, nursing schools. It's going to expand medical technology. There is a ton of money coming out of this bill in the next 20 years for medical technology. We're going to see huge scientific breakthroughs in medicine, and we're going to see the economic benefits that come from that. And Americans, it'll take a little while, but Americans are once again going to be proud that we joined those nations. We're going to be embarrassed for a long time that we didn't do it sooner. That we joined those nations that cover all their people with insurance somehow or other. We're going to be very proud of that. And you know, you're going to have to hunt with a dog to find a member of Congress who's going to tell his grandkids, I didn't vote for that health care. By God, I was standing right with you. I think it's going to be the other way around. Do we need some improvements in it and whatnot? Oh, sure. And did it come out the way Pat Williams wanted? No, but what the hell? They did it. And I think that's one of the breakthroughs, although the big ones are still to come. America's, I don't want to get too back in those old days you talked about, but America has got to get back to being bold. Our people have got to become bold again, and adventurers and pioneers and risk takers. Both conservatives and liberals can do that together and have done it together in the past. And when we do that, I think we're going to see around the middle of this century, maybe not quite that long, I think we're going to see an America that our children are really going to be proud to wear that little American flag on their lapel again.
On that note, thank you both, Lawrence and Pat, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Nice ending.
I really enjoyed it.
Great. You were terrific.
Thank you.
Oh, I enjoyed the hell out of it too.